Is there a better tool that empowers a woman to defend against an attacker than a 100-pound bigger?
Nope.
That's why it's so important for women to learn how to defend themselves with the most effective self-defense tool ever invented. For women, led by women, the Not Me program is designed to help with training, purchasing a gun, and getting a concealed carry permit. And guess what? It is free. To sign up, go to notmest.org. The program is also available in Orange County and Inland Empire. Get help today at notmest.org.
Okay, so we heard from her in the 4 o'clock segment, Ms. Heather Hawke from Orange County Gun Owners. She's the executive director, and she wants to come on and talk about something that's happening in Irvine that we definitely need your help with, particularly if you live anywhere near Irvine. So, Heather, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm back again. I have a case of deja vu. No.
So talk about what's going on in the beautiful city of Irvine.
Well, there was one of the city council members, Kathleen Treziner. She has put forth a memo. She was asking to have a discussion started about getting an ordinance in place for Irvine for responsible gun storage.
Gun storage.
Yes. It's like responsible and common sense. You know, they have all those little trigger words in there. What she's looking to do is we already have safe storage ordinances that's a state level, and that's, of course, to store if children are present or if a person who's prohibited is in your home. But she wants to follow some of the other cities like San Diego, I believe, has it in there, and Los Angeles, San Jose. You know, she wants to put a similar ordinance in that they have where, in addition to that, where we normally it would be your responsibility as an adult and a gun owner to store as you see fit. She wants to put additional ordinance in where you have to store it separate from, like, the firearm unloaded, locked from the ammunition. So unless it's actually on your persons or in your immediate possession.
So that's the big curveball that they've thrown in. Mm-hmm. You're right. There have been a couple of cities in San Diego. There have been a few cities in California that have done this, and everyone who's aware, everybody in the gun community, their first question is, well, what about Heller? Heller versus D.C., that's exactly what that Supreme Court decision was all about. Basically, in D.C., you had to store your firearm broken down, inoperable, locked up, whatever. And, of course, the Supreme Court said that is unconstitutional. So the difference between these ordinances, the one that they're going to talk about in Irvine, the one that's in San Diego, the one that they're spreading throughout California, is that there is an exception if you're in control of the firearm. Now, what does that mean, in control of the firearm? Well, the most obvious definition would be that you're touching it. If you're touching the firearm, it doesn't have to be stored, inoperable, separate from the ammo, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why they're saying that this law is significantly different from the Heller versus D.C. law, which hasn't been tested in court yet. And I think they're wrong, but hasn't been tested in court yet.
La Mesa tried to pass this and it failed. Was it a year or two ago?
La Mesa tried to pass it, mm-hmm. and we were a big part of making sure that failed. If you helped get Laura Lothian elected, you were a big part of making sure that failed. Heather, I remember in her resolution or in her proposal, she talked about kids, saying, hey, we need to keep these firearms away from kids. And you brought up an excellent point, the fact that, hey, that's already a law. They're totally misleading. It's the shell game, hey, look over here. And that's already a law. If a child accesses your firearm, unauthorized, you have violated the law. So this storage law in Irvine that they're proposing has nothing to do with that. It's not going to help that in any way.
Exactly. And she notes in there, too, about there's locks are provided by the Irvine PD free of charge for the cable locks. But, I mean, even when you go to purchase a firearm, you have to either purchase a cable lock or it comes with the firearm. So, I mean, all of these things are in place. And it's just adding that addition trying to say you have to store it separate from the ammunition in your home. I mean, the vast majority of people have firearms for self-defense. So it makes no sense why you would keep it separate from its ammunition. I mean, even if you have it in a lockbox, it's fine to have it loaded, in my opinion, because, you're going to need it, and you need it in seconds, not minutes. So you need to have access to it as quickly as possible. And if you have to stop and go to one place to get your firearm and then stop and go to another place to get your ammunition, it makes absolutely no sense for somebody to use it for self-defense.
And that's the danger. People ask, well, gee, Mike, why would anybody, oppose this? I mean, they're just asking you to simply, lock up your firearms. They put those
sexy titles on there. They make you feel like a schmuck for saying no, that you don't responsible storage.
You must hate people.
Right.
That must be it. And number one, if it's wrong, it's wrong. You don't have to explain yourself. But, number two, to explain, these storage laws are not making things safer. In fact, they're making things more dangerous for people who need to defend themselves.
Expect to see home invasion rise.
Expect to see home invasion rise. Expect to see home invasions get more dangerous. Because now, a single woman has no kids. Now she has to lock up or keep her firearm inoperable, at all times. She can't get to it. The other thing is, how are you going to enforce this thing? Are we sending cops door to door to make sure?
Come knock on my door?
Yeah, right. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. And I'll tell you what happens with these kinds of, vague enforcement laws is, let's say somebody is sneaking around in her backyard and she does call the cops. Cops show up. Well, there's her gun sitting on the nightstand. Boom, that's how it gets enforced. That's how it's that kind of, or there's a medical emergency, something like that. Ambulance shows up, cops show up. That's how it gets enforced. That's the kind of, it does a lot of damage to people who just want to exercise their right, just want to be safe, and it just want to protect themselves.
Right.
It's turning victims into not just victims of criminals, but victims of bad public policy, and that's not right.
Exactly. And if you even look at the memo too, she kind of shows her colors there, because she mentions the other cities, but she says Irvine would be leading the way as the first city in Orange County to have such an ordinance. So in my opinion, reading that, I feel like it's not focusing on the true, like, being safe and safe gun handling. We want to be the first to say that we put this in place, but you don't really look at what it does and how it affects your city members, the people who live, your residents, as a whole. So
it's not just Irvine as well that'll be affected, because that's going to, if it doesn't get stopped now, it's going to spread.
Exactly.
It's exactly what's happening. Yeah, it's spreading. Okay, so when is this happening? When is this actually going in front of the city council, Heather?
So she had it as March 28th, but they had too full of an agenda to put it on there. So they are moving it to April 11th. And that's the next city council meeting. So here not this coming Tuesday, but the following Tuesday. I am waiting for their agenda comes out the week prior. So this Tuesday on April 4th, the agenda should come out. I'm going to send out a call to action via our emails to get it out to our members. Anyone who follows subscribes to our newsletter, we'll get it out there and ask them to also share it. But I'll put the details on how people can help. So they, most importantly, if they are residents of Irvine or Orange County and they can make that meeting, the meeting starts at 4, but they won't hear public comments or go into that part of the agenda till 5:00. So after 5:00, if they can come and they want to speak, or at least just be there to support, that would be fantastic. If they can't make it to the actual meeting, they offer a Zoom option. So I'll send that information out as well. This can all be found on the City of Irvine website too, under their city council information. It's a little tricky, and the website, it takes you to a different link. So that's why I'm going to kind of put specific instructions in the email for everybody. But they can join a Zoom call, and they can also speak via Zoom. You can also add e-comments prior on the agenda, or you can do it during the meeting. There's 2 options there for that as well.
Okay, so this is your opportunity, especially if you live in Orange County, especially if you live in Irvine. This is your opportunity to make your voice heard. Also, by the way, dirty little secret here: you can show up to any city council meeting, any city council meeting, and speak, whether you live in the city or not. Any city council meeting you attend, you do not have to tell them where you live, no matter what they say. If they, well, it's required. Wrong. It's actually illegal to require that. So they can say, well, gee, we need to know. You know, you got to tell us. No, you don't. You don't have to tell them your real name. You don't have to tell them where you live. You know, so you can go get your 3 minutes at any city council meeting, no matter where you live, anytime, and you don't have to tell them. Don't let them bully you into saying, well, I don't live in this city, so that they can disregard your opinion. So that's important, not just for this one, but for every city council meeting. You can go talk at any city council meeting you want. You don't have to tell them your real name. You don't have to tell them where you live.
And you shouldn't put fake names.
Well, I mean, you can do it anonymously.
Michael Schwartz.
Well, I mean, I would everything you do be respectful. So don't tell them your name's Mickey Mouse or whatever. Just tell them, like, well, I'm just going to go by Bob or whatever. I
live on the streets.
I choose to be anonymous. Well, you have to tell us your name. No, I'm actually not required by law to tell you my name, and you are required to let me participate. It's that simple. So, awesome. Are you going to be there, Heather?
Yes, I am definitely going to be there. And like you said, just to reiterate that, it's Orange County. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's the city of Irvine, it will spread to other cities and even throughout the state. So we want to stop that. So anyone who can make it, even if you're not in this county, come on in.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there as well, and we're gonna have a formal statement from Orange County gun owners, but we need people to pile on. We need people to show up. This is it. This is activism.
When is it? One more time.
It's April 11th, Tuesday, and the meeting starts at 4, but officially where they start doing comments and more of the public is 5 p.m. So.
All right, super.
Thanks for watching this clip from Gun Owners Radio. You can watch us live every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, right here on our YouTube channel, or if you're in the San Diego area, you can listen to us on 1170 a.m. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform for free. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can help restore and protect the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.